Eric, you went to Polk County in Tryon now. This is another area that needs to have their story told. Give us an idea of what you're learning there.
Well, Dan, this is yet another area in the western North Carolina mountains that looks like it has been hit with a buzzsaw. When Helene dropped all of that rain, it raced through this valley, tearing up roads, tearing up bridges, lifting this entire building up, and then dropping it back down. You look down there, you can see there's a house dangling over the river waters now. We know from neighbors that other houses further downstream were completely swept away. All of these communities with so much damage, that damage different, but no less devastating to the people who live here.
Morning, guys. So I am currently on my way to Grifton, and I will be picking up some chicken tractors to go to the North Carolina mountains. We had some requests for some chicken tractors, and one of these ladies in particular, right after the hurricane, farm gets devastated, and then she got diagnosed with some sort of cancer, which she's getting treatment for. But, when we were looking at, what was the best way to serve her, we thought, getting her something that is hassle-free, best in class to replace her chicken tractors would probably be, the best way to go, because, she has to be able to move this thing around and continue to operate her farm. And she's got a lot of birds. So we did some research, and we figured out that the best chicken tractors on the market are made by Superior Poultry. And so I contacted Superior Poultry. We were able to locate some here in North Carolina. There's not a whole lot of dealers for this particular company, although they are kind of spread out across the country. So, but we feel like these are the best choice for at least this particular situation. We want those who we help to get back to being productive farmers. And, that means removing as many stress points as we possibly can and giving them, best in class materials when they request it. So that's where I'm heading this morning. And, I'm going to take you guys along for the ride. All right, so 2.5 hours later, I am finally at Yoder's Farm and Garden Supply in eastern North Carolina to pick up some chicken tractors to go to western North Carolina. This is what it takes to be able to get this stuff done, but somebody's got to do it to help these farmers out. Alright. So this morning we are on our way to Tryon, North Carolina. Tryon is kind of in that southwestern region of the mountains that got hit pretty bad by Hurricane Helene. But we are delivering one of these chicken tractors to a farm there. So we'll take you guys along for the ride and show you how these things get set up. I'm working with my son over here, Benjamin. Benjamin, don't be rude, say hi. Hi. If you notice, Benjamin's got his leather patch hat on. This year we're going to be doing something a little different with Meet My Neighbor. Anybody who donates $100 or more to Meet My Neighbor Productions will get a free leather patch hat. You just have to, in the comments of the donation give us a mailing address, and we'll ship that hat out to you. So anyway, this is one of the efforts of Meet My Neighbor Productions in Hurricane Helene relief, and we look forward to sharing more of these stories with you now that the holiday season's over and things are getting a little bit back to normal. So anyway, enjoy, and hopefully we'll be able to share a little bit of this farm story with you today. Try and get it all the way through before you give it a tap. Muscles over there.
My name is Wendy Ryan, and we've been on our property. It's a farm called Chutzpah Hollow, a Jewish agriculturally inspired farm and homestead. We've been here about 4 years, and when Helene hit, I really thought we were going to be fine. We'll lose some trees, fine. So the water from Lake Lure, the Broad River, the Pacolet River, so 2 different rivers that come down through this area off the mountains since we're in the foothills. And there's another smaller lake called Lake Adger that also has floodgates that had to be opened. So that was day 2 and day 3, really, when the significant amounts of water started to come through. And that's, we had, as I said, silt up to 4 feet tall fences and car parts and big trees that just washed through fence lines. It just came down and then created this, cavern in the back part of our property. And a lot of people had their, full barns washed away and houses washed away and lost livestock and all sorts of other things as well. But we ended up having a creek cut into a river into most of our pastures and having to, we lost 3 outbuildings and 22 very, very large trees. And in the midst of all of that, 3 days prior to Helene, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So we've been running back and forth to hospitals and not having power and, doing all of that kind of thing in the last several months. And I know our needs are far less than a lot of other people's needs, and we're incredibly lucky we didn't lose our home. But this is a game changer. We lost our chicken tractor, a tree fell on it. I was really worried about how I was going to raise our meat birds in a way that I could physically do it in the next several months. Had 2 surgeries so far and radiation, and now I'm doing chemo, and it's going to be a long process. So I want to be able to still be productive, and with a donation like this that I can physically move myself, we'll be able to not just have meat for our own family, but for our community as well. So we're very grateful.
Well, we're grateful that you are producing food for people. So
happy. It's part of what we do, right? It's part of being a homesteader and a part of a community is you look out for each other, and that's important.
How do you think the community has come together in areas that were impacted by Helene?
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I lived in New York during 9/11, and that was one thing, one tragedy, but the way in which people have immediately pulled together. Everyone around here, of course, lost power and water for most folks, and within a day, at the diner down the street, we were serving hot meals over charcoal flame, and anybody from the community that had things that were in their freezers and their refrigerators were coming out and serving the first responders that were coming in from all over the place. And There were people that showed up at my house with chainsaws that I didn't know, that just said, I got you, you know, and then in turn, I could do something else for someone else. I could run supplies from one house to the next, or get diapers for somebody who couldn't get to the store, you know, things like that. And it created a sense of not just community, but dual, not even self-sufficiency, community sufficiency. We really showed up for each other, and those are bonds that aren't going to go away anytime soon. And we're now talking about how can we be a more resilient community, because these things are just going to keep happening. How can we be better prepared next time? And whether that's infrastructure or CB radios or a community call network, something, we've got to figure it out.
All right, so we just left Wendy's. Ben, did you have fun building that chicken coop?
Yeah.
Your knees are dirty.
Yep.
Did a lot of kneeling down today. Anyway, we'll continue to share these stories with you as people allow us to, and we appreciate, you know, the support that you've given to our nonprofit to be able to do these things for our farmers up here in the mountains. You know, it comes down to helping get fresh local food back into these areas that have been impacted. You'd be surprised with how much destruction there was, how hard that actually will be over the next couple years. So if you value having fresh local foods and being able to buy from your local farmers, I mean, this is the type of stuff that really helps them get back on their feet. We're providing people with equipment that they're not going to have to fight with. You know, they've got enough to deal with right now. So that's why we're doing the type of things that we're doing.
Since the impact of the storm, Meet My Neighbor Productions volunteers have been in the field, cleaning up debris, delivering donations, and serving rural communities in any way we can. Now you have a chance to support our efforts.
The community has poured in so much. It's just been unbelievable to see the effort in our community.
Thank you so much for the support and the love and the prayers and all you're doing. And if you've sent support and supplies, this is my heartfelt thank you to all of you. We love you, we needed you, and you showed up. Thank you.
Take action now and click the link below this video.